The first one is from Jose Sanchez again.
Huh.
Hello K1. The subject is backstage ribbing. Hello K100. It's your good buddy from Queens, New York, Jose Sanchez. Who? Because
who?
Disco. I hope you and Konnan are doing well. And as for Joe, I am indifferent.
That's nice.
As always, thank you for all the content and good old fashioned bugle beak. Good old-fashioned ball busting.
That's rude.
When it comes to ribbing backstage, who's the easiest person to rib? Who had thick skin and who had thin skin? Keep up the good work, and for anyone who loves what the K100 crew is doing, please support the show on Patreon. Thanks, Jose Queens. P.S. KG is living proof that you need absolutely no talent to be a part of wrestling. Thanks a lot, Pennywise. You've ruined the wrestling business. Go eat a bag of dicks. Nothing? All right.
That made me feel better.
I would concur with that.
So, who is the easiest person to rib? Who got ribbed a lot? We kind of ribbed it. You know what? There wasn't an easy person.
Let me explain something. There is no way, if you're a snowflake, that you would have survived in a WCW locker room. Absolutely no way, because ribbing was the fucking, from the moment you walked into that fucking place, you were succumbing. You had to look around, because that's how we entertained ourselves.
Look, let me tell you something. This is a testimony to the wrestling business today, as to the culture that we grew up in. This question that he asked right here, okay? Who had thick skin and who had thin skin? It's like, dude, nobody had thin skin. We were all tough enough to, rib and show you. It's like nobody had thin skin.
Because if you had thin skin, let me tell you what would happen. You would literally get driven out of the business. Eddie Guerrero once wrote this thing, which is very true. You met him, Disco. Mm-hmm. What was that Australian's name on Nathan? What was his name?
Nathan Jones.
A real badass, super badass. Went to prison, beat motherfuckers up. Humongous,
7 feet tall.
Literally one of the strongest men in the world in the strongman competitions. Right.
One of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Right.
And very intelligent too. Yes.
Right. They drove this guy nuts. They drove him nuts and drove him out of the business. And he ain't the only one. I've seen that happen a lot. If you don't have thin skin and you're a pussy, because that's the only word there is for it, you are not going to fucking be able to handle the wrestling business. You know what I'm saying?
You know, let's think about this.
Back then. Right now, it's not as bad.
That's kind of sad if you think about it.
Right.
Okay? Because Nathan Jones was talented.
Super.
He was just kind of green, but he just needed to work. You know, he's talented. He had an incredible athlete, smart,
super talented,
well spoken, intelligent. Have crazy conversations with this guy over.
Hell of a nice guy.
Their culture over there is big. You know, everybody's very polite and stuff, and you know. So he comes in this culture, and it's like it's very difficult for somebody that's never been around that ever.
Right.
You know, and so but here's a guy too, and this is sad. It's like this guy went to prison for robbing bank and got in like a shootout, you know, with the cops and everything. Went to he was bank robbing, right?
Right.
And he's a violent criminal. He got put in prison, you know. Bro, did you wonder if he always wondered if he was, you know, maybe he quit the business because he thought that one day he would just snap and maybe do something to send him right back to jail? Because the guy's on probation, you know, the guy's a previous offender, everything, you know. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that's a possibility?
1,000%, bro. 1,000%, because they tested this guy really bad and for no other fucking reason to be jackasses. You know, I was like, bro, he when I talked to him, I once had a conversation with him. He did something like 10 bank robberies, bro. It wasn't just one.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, you got to have balls to do that.
And
what?
A 7-foot, 320-pound jacked bank robber too. Like, not too hard to find, you know?
Yeah.
Right. And then like after that, he was like a powerlifting champion, like a strongman guy, and like he was legit. You know what I'm saying? And they drove him and he wasn't the only one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just think that that's how society was. Because even when I was in the military, bro, hazing was not. There's places now, and like I think hazing is officially like illegal now in the military. You know what I'm saying?
Unbelievable?
Yes. It is unbelievable.
We're teaching these people how to handle stressful situations,
right?
And you literally can't put them under stressful situations enough to to get them ready for combat. That's unbelievable if you think that, you know. Right.
And so, but anyway,
that's what I've always thought too. Because here's the thing too, is that in football, remember when Richie Incognito had the thing for bullying,
right.
But bro, let me tell you, this is what I always said.
Offensive tackle who I think
for the Dolphins,
Was he gay?
Jonathan Martin. No, wasn't gay, but he was just.
But he ended up going to San Francisco, right?
Right. His name was Jonathan Martin, right?
Yeah, right.
Getting bullied. Yeah. Bro, but like to me, I always looked at this like, you're talking about a combat sport, football, contact sport. But it is combat because they're not trying to punch each other, but you are trying to hit the other guy really hard. You know what I'm saying? Which is basically a form of combat, And it's like there's all these guidelines and everything. We're teaching growing kids up on things you can't do. It's like, bro, to me, like gloves are off when you're teaching guys how to do physical contact.
Right.
You gotta get in their heads because you don't want them to be weak-minded. Because if you're weak-minded, people will physically punish you. And stuff like that. So you have to keep people mentally strong, and the way you do that is expose them to stressful situations. You can't even call people names and stuff and everything now in practices and stuff. And it's like, dude, you gotta toughen people up. You can't just take this away from them because when they do face really stressful situations later in life, they're never going to have any clue how to handle it.
I'll give you an example. When I got into the military, right? Mm-hmm. So now you're getting all these guys that are, when you're a recruit, you're usually very, very young. Okay. So now you have guys that are immature, guys that are running away from the law. Like in my case, I was actually I was given a decision that I had to go to the military. You have all these guys that are running away from shit. You have all these guys that you have to find out if they're tough enough. And like the company commander, he'll look around the room and he'll find out who the alpha male is. Okay. And that alpha male is the guy that, like, when you're marching up, 2, 3, 4, get in line, right to the flank left. And you've got this alpha male in the company that everybody respects. It's almost like a human biological thing where you're respecting this male authority. And he was in charge of the whole fucking barracks. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so they were always finding these alpha males. And then after the alpha male, they had like 2 or 3 other guys that were kind of head of discipline. And their job basically was all dipshits, pussies, fucking weak-minded motherfuckers. They're getting weeded out of the fucking company because those guys were going to hold you down in war or something like that. And that's what they did. They bullied them, they hazed them, and they got them the fuck out of the thing. And I guarantee you can't do that no more.
Think about this too, and how this is seeping into society. What's going to happen when it gets into the military, where military guys are going to have to address people by their requested pronouns?
Right.
Think about that. This is how far away we're going from what built the toughness of this country.
Right.
Stuff for things like we're literally going as like we literally can't even attempt to try to do things that have traditionally been known and proven to toughen people up and make them tougher and make them mentally stronger. We can't do those things anymore.
Right.
They're literally
now you've actually got a weak military because of that. You know what I'm saying? Where guys are afraid. You can't be afraid when you're going into war. You cannot be afraid. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be weak-minded. You cannot be thinking, I'm going to turn around and leave. I'm not going to save this guy if he's on the floor wounded. You know what I'm saying? You can't think like that.
And think about how they're teaching kids from like elementary school on now with that philosophy. Yep. So now all the recruits are going to come out of this system that we have in society where these people have been placed under no stress.
Right.
And now we're going to try to put them through training to stress. And like, oh my God, the training's too hard.
Right.
We have to tone down the training.